Bradley Johnson here, and I just wanted to do a video on failure and why I don't regularly train to failure and the effects of failure and why, you know, all that junk. I used to train to failure because that's what Toy Muscle told me to do when that was the first YouTube channel I really started watching when I started working out over a year ago. And I always trained to failure because they said if you're not training to failure, you're not trying hard enough. And to some extent it's true, because what training to failure will do is mean you're always at capacity and you always recruit all of your muscle fibers. You get 100% muscle fiber recruitment in a muscle if you go to failure. Great. However, you also get 100% muscle recruitment if you go anywhere near failure for a few sets. So that isn't really that necessary for that at all. But what you also get when you go to failure is failure begets failure. The more you fail, the more you fail. So let's say you do 50 kilogram bench and you do it 5x5, and the next day you go up to 52.5, right? And you do one set, and then you do a second set, and on your third set you fail, you only get 4 reps up. You then drop the weight back to 50 kilograms, what you did before, and you go to press it, and you only get 4 reps. You drop the weight again, and maybe you only get 4 reps of that. Once you fail, so many muscle fibers are used and torn and worn that you can't put them under tension again. A weight that you previously could do becomes near impossible. Anyone that's trained to failure knows this. When you fail, the next time you lift, the next time you pick up the weight, it's really difficult. And what you previously may have managed, you can't manage it again. Failing leads to weakness at that moment in time. Now you will get muscle activation, but what the most important thing is time under tension, total weight and mass moved by the muscle across the entire workout. And if you do 4 sets of 10 of a weight, yeah, you try and do the same thing by doing 4 sets of 12, you assuming that 4 sets of 10 was capacity, that same weight you can't do 4 sets of 12, so you'll do 11 maybe and fail on the 12th, but then you won't be able to do 10. You'll be able to do, say, 9, and after that maybe 8, and after that 7. If you add all those numbers up in just that example, you've done much less reps, and that less reps is less work, and that throughout an entire year is a lot less muscle built. It's as simple as that. The reason we don't go to failure is because, anyone that in the know says, training to failure is training for failure. Failing is a massive stress to your motor neurons and the muscle fibers themselves, and once you've done that, it's impossible to recover from that in that same session. So once you fail, you're about to fail again. And everyone who's trained and has failed knows the feeling of you push, you fail, and then all of a sudden last week's workout weights are just as hard, and you're failing. You get the scale of failing. You just come away with feeling like it's a rubbish session, terrible session, because you failed and failed again, and then maybe even failed a 3rd time. It happens. It's what happens when you fail. It's perfectly normal and natural. It's supposed to happen. When you fail, you're supposed to be weaker. But we don't want to be weaker. We want to be stronger. We want to move as much weight as possible. So it's better to move a lighter weight or the same weight but less times for more sets than it is to push it to maximum effort the first set in either weight or time or reps, and then after that be so fatigued that you can't do it anything like that again, and then over the course of the entire workout you've hardly activated that muscle in comparison to what you may have done otherwise. Which is why in the current training I'm doing, the Ice Cream Fitness 5x5, here's my training logs. Most of the sets I don't go for failure, but what failure is great at is it's the best and really the only way of determining capacity. There's no way for you to know how heavy you can lift if you don't fail, because anything that you lift 5 times, you may have been able to do more. So it's not until you actually go for more that you can realize that you're training at capacity. If you were to decide, you know what, I think the most I could bench press 5x5 is 51.2 kilograms, and any more than that I won't be able to do it 5 times. So you train at 51.2 kilograms and you do that for a month. You get muscle activation, but what probably happened as it was going on, when you started, it probably wasn't 52.2 kilograms, whatever I just said. It was probably a little bit more than that, and then every day that you trained after that, it was even more than that. And the only way to really find that out is to actually test it. But you don't want to be testing it every single workout. You want to be moving through weights and then every now and again go to find out if you really are using a maximum of your effort, which is why the ice cream fitness progression moves in that way. It bounces against failure twice. You get an attempt at a PR, you try it again. If you fail that, drop it back. It's a miniature reset. It's like a deload. It'll allow your muscles, your connective tissue to recover from what putting them under failure pressure is, which is a massive stress on the connective tissue. Allow them to recover. It'll make you feel a little bit better. You'll be able to push weight. You'll get a lot more time under tension. You'll grow up. You'll be able to push weights, and eventually you'll get back to that, and hopefully you'll push it then, and then the cycle just repeats. You hit failure twice, you drop, and you'll get a progression like that, yeah, over time. So that's why we don't go to failure if we possibly can. Any good program doesn't have failure in it. It'll have a good progression plan that means you eventually arrive at failure on time to make sure that you're training to capacity, but you don't regularly go for failure. Doing a set of whatever where you hit go as hard as you possibly can and go to complete failure for every time you do that workout is bad news. All it will do is overly stress your connective tissue for a tiny amount more muscle gains in that particular session, but probably not if done in the first rep. Definitely not if done in the first rep, and probably not in terms of in the long term, because constantly butting your head against failure will be overall less time under tension than if you spent most of the time not hitting failure and eventually tried to hit failure once or twice and then bounce back. If you add up the total reps against total weight, which is reps multiplied by weights, is your workout basically. You know, if you do 5x5, which is 25 reps, and you're pushing 50 kilograms, 25 multiplied by 50 is your total weight moved for that session. If you add a little bit of weight to that, say 52.5, and then you do 5 reps but then only 4 reps, and then drop the weight, and then do 5 reps but then only do 4 reps and then drop the weight, you'll see if you add that up, it's much less weight moved that day, but it was necessary to find out if that really was your capacity. And then when you drop back, you'll go through it, but obviously I've been through that a few times now. That's why we don't train to failure. Hopefully there's been some help. bradleyaidanjohnson@gmail.com. If you have any queries or theories or suggestions or anything, let me know. Other than that, like the video, like my Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, of course, subscribe. Peace.